And you mentioned Mr. Modi and coming back to India at a time when India has a brand new Prime Minister. There has been a considerable strain between our two countries in the past over the visa issue vis-a-vis Mr. Modi. Every American diplomat I've since spoken to, including Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, says that's in the past, let's not rake up those issues, it's time to look forward. How do you see Mr. Modi taking charge of India? How do you think America is looking at him?
Well, first of all, I followed his career as Chief Minister in Gujarat very closely because his predecessor as the BJP Prime Minister, Mr. Vajpayee, asked me to help mobilize Indian Americans to help after the terrible earthquake in Gujarat, which occurred shortly after I left office. And so I spent time in Gujarat for the next 2 or 3 years working on what we were asked to do in the villages on housing and education and health care, and I helped to organize the American India Foundation, which still works in this country. I think to good effect. It's good for the Indian Americans, and it's good for India. So I was impressed with his economic policies and with his determination to have opportunities spread throughout the state. And, you know, I agreed that I think we have to leave the other stuff in the past. That was terrible, what happened, all the sectarian violence in Gujarat. And there were a lot of charges back and forth about who is responsible. But I think the votes of the people of India, the presence of the Pakistani Prime Minister at the inauguration, all that's evidence that everybody wants India to succeed. Everybody believes he has the potential to make a big difference based on his economic work as Chief Minister. And that's the way I feel. I think we're all excited. We want this to work. And I think the fact that he wanted Mr. Sharif at his inauguration may be a signal to Muslims who are Indians that he wants to govern for everybody.
From what I know about the new Prime Minister, from what I have seen since he was elected and what he has said, he seems to be very committed to that kind of path. He also impressed me when he invited Nawaz Sharif to his swearing-in ceremony, as well as other regional leaders. If he leads an inclusive government, and there isn't any country in the world that is more diverse than India, but if people, regardless of their religion, their caste, their geography, feel that this is a prime minister for all India, and if he explores potential opportunities in the region, both, I would argue, looking west and looking east, I think it could be a quite consequential period for India. And
I have to ask you though, because so many people in India are going to pick up this book and read it, we have a new government.
Yes.
Therefore, the question is this. Is this a long shadow hanging over this relationship because our current Prime Minister is somebody who was denied a visa by the United States of America?
In the prior administration.
By the Bush administration.
You know, here's how I see it, Barka. I am very hopeful that the new government, with its very large majority, will be able to take actions that will improve the economy, strengthen the foundations of economic growth and prosperity broadly based for the Indian people, that they will be able to address corruption so that the average person doesn't feel that others are profiting and they are not. So